Hello, welcome to Florida State Floral Association Midseason 2021. 2021, year unlike any other, right? Following 2020, a new way of having to do things right now, and we're trying to stick within those parameters and socially distance and do our part. And that is one of the reasons that we're bringing this to you virtually. So we will forgive our cramped spaces right now. We're trying to do the best we can and offer you as much education as possible. I am incredibly proud to be able to present this program, not only as a sponsor of Designer of the Year program for Florida State Floral Association and representing Floriology, but also because this happens to be one of our own team members that won Designer of the Year in 2020 to be able to bring this program to you. Alejandro, Fernandes, AIFD, CFD. What an incredible talent. Knew right from the very beginning this young man was going to go places in the floral industry. From the first time I met him in a class to where he's gone now is just leaps and bounds. Such an incredible talent when it comes to floral design and to techniques. Smallest detail to the largest, and I can't wait for you to see some of these that he's put together for you. Some of the largest structures, paying particular attention to every detail, every aspect, and all of the elements and principles. Florida State Florist Association is celebrating our 100-year anniversary this year. So we're going to continue to bring you as much education as we can and as many aspects of what's normal for where we are right now as we can during the year. So be sure to check us out, follow us, stay tuned often, and without further ado, I want to present to you Floral Structures by Alejandro, Fernandes, AIFD, CFD.
Hello. Thank you, Jackie, for beautiful words and so appreciated and feel very honored to hear that. I want to start with another words, but just I was remembered the time that I get here at the first time. When I come, it's going to be a course for certification to my way and my journey for AIFD. And now I'm here doing my program. This is my home. I can't believe it that I am a part of the Florology now. I want to say thank you, Florology, to give me the opportunity to be here and share my knowledge with everyone and the students. I want to say thank you for everything. I born in Caracas, Venezuela in 1974 and living in Fort Lauderdale. I have a company for events. The name of the company is Ornatus Events Productions and made me happy running business in this country. At the same way, made me happy to be an instructor and share the knowledge for elements and principles of the floral design. I bring the different structures and floral pieces because flowers are my passion, but hardwoods and materials, it is too. When I travel and going to see any store, all the time I'm thinking what I can do with this one. And now I want to start with one piece that Jackie is going to bring me to me, please. Thank you. This is an amazing technique that I learned for people that make balance. Balance is activities in Spanish. Is a one technique that use a tie foam or span foam. I'm going to tell you how can I build this one. I use a reform my base. I use a cracked pepper I'm modeling. Then I start doing the texture that I want. When the foam is wet at the same time that you are doing, I throw sand because it's help you to open holes and give it more texture like rock. When it's 40 hours done, it's dried, your foam is the process to start painting. For my structures, I use all the time Design Master tools. I love the colors that they have. I use a flat black. For the first step, I start painting the structure. Then I want to continue adding colors. I use a silver, I use a copper, like metallic colors to have a more illumination inside the structure. When that color are done, I give you a final touch again with the flat black. That is cover the shine parts, but you can see the bright colors or metallic colors inside. In this piece, I following the elements and principles of the floral design. All the time, when I make any design, I take my Bible, I take my rules, elements, and principles are important. That is making the difference between one design. After that, I use a technique and design style. That made the difference. In this piece, you can see I have a one line that I create with my Tillandsia xerographica, but I made a one technique. I use a stratting, that is removing a part for the botanical to create different appearance. You see it's floating my leaf. I use a spiral holder to create more interest how it's holding the botanical. How I say I use a grouping with my tillandsias. You see this area is the same one at terracing. And repetition at this part I have again like my tillandsias are on terracing and grouping as well. This particular tillandsia is not painting, the ends is not painting. If you see in this particular tillandsia is coming with the violet color, that is not painted. This is natural. That is coming from the sun, and this is colored naturally. I have only tillandsias in this composition, different varieties. The same way in the Spanish moss, people don't know that is a tillandsia. Spanish moss are tillandsias. It's creating a beautiful texture. I love it to see these pieces. You can use this one for any event, any contemporary event, or maybe artist event, and you bring more interest about the floral design.
Thank you, Alejandro. I just want to point out a couple of things, especially to those of you that are watching. A lot of times when we look at programs like this and we see something on such a grand, large scale, we're tempted to think, I could never do something like that. But I want to discourage you from thinking that way, because to me, looking at this is almost like a beautiful piece of lava from Hawaii. And it takes me back to last time I was there, and I'm able to visit the volcanic island, and see this, and it really just brings back special memories. But for me, what I would do is think about using something like this for an Hawaiian party, that maybe this is the buffet piece or an entry piece, and then create smaller stones from this same method that you can use for the centerpiece for the table.
Yeah.
That makes it more affordable to me, because I can break the idea up and use it many different ways. And I just want to make sure that everyone understood the detail. Now, you said that this took about 40 or 45 hours
It's correct.
to dry.
Yes.
I don't want you to be discouraged by that, because he started with just a wreath base, formed craft paper to create the shape, and then sprayed with the foam. And a great tip that Alejandro shared with me, to keep from having your gloves stick to the foam wet it down with water and dish detergent,
This, yes, this soap.
dish soap, dish detergent, so that it keeps it slippery and you can form. The sand is a great idea to add that texture
Yes.
and the little bubbles, like you said. Another really cool thing that you can take away from this piece is the spiral holders. That's just a name that we came up with this weekend. This great technique that Alejandro created by covered wire, creating that loop on the center and indenting it just a little bit so that it actually just sits right down inside there. A great way to get some projection on a small centerpiece that you might be using in the center of the table. Very good job. Really enjoy this piece. I'm going to take it back over here with me and visit Hawaii again.
Yeah, important, Jackie, that maybe you can see the physical balance for this arrangement, but it's very light. When you work with the foam, if you carry, is light. You can carry easy to any event. You can use this piece, fabulous.
And that's incredibly important when you're having to set those up by yourself. So great tip, something really light and easy to form, and you can make many different shapes. Good job, really enjoyed this piece.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
let you get to the next piece now.
Thank you. Well, everybody know that I love orchids. If you see my Instagram account, you see my events, orchids are present everywhere. When I'm thinking, I want to do something abstract because I love to work with acrylic. I have this piece that is a mono product. It's only Phalaenopsis hybrid. You don't see any more products inside. It's a monochromatic too. You know, I use two ways to represent this piece. Okay, the color and the softly of the texture is beautiful. The same way, I have the transparency with my structure. This structure from acrylic I made by myself. It's easy to work. Rooks that you can find it in any wholesaler from acrylics, and you only need a PVC cutter, and you cut it the pieces how you desire. But in this particular piece, you can see the detail. They have two techniques from Floral Design. Is a belling and binding. Two techniques together is create a beautiful piece. The same way you see the repetition inside there. I glue in that with U-Glue Dash from Oasis. I love U-Glue Dashes all the time. I use for everything. It's easy to glue it, and you can remove, and you can use and reuse your piece. In this case, I have a beautiful cascade line. I love this piece because the visual impact for this composition is the color, and that is important. That is one tip that one time Gus de la Flor, past president, told me, you need to create more visual impact. I asked him to, hi Tommy, what is represent for you the visual impact? Color, that is important. Is one tip that I want to give you to you.
Another incredible piece, and I love the way that Alejandro has taken this one piece and added in so many of the elements and principles of design. Be sure and take a close look at how he's used binding as banding, as well as we look at the silver wire that is joining the smaller acrylic pieces together. I actually told him I might steal some of these acrylic pieces because I can't find them around here for me. So he's going to see if he can hook me up with some from his area down there. But then also looking at the way that he's used the monochromatic color to make that statement, like he said, Gus de la Flor had suggested, and also keeping it monobotanical with the one type of floral product that's put in this piece. We're going to put some close pictures up for you to see the details, because you don't want to miss the way that he's incorporated the U-glue by attaching some of the smaller pieces, and then, as we mentioned, the binding and banding technique to embrace each of those acrylic pieces and really add in a lot of texture. Great job.
Thank you. You know about this piece that I love it, I was very intentionally, was a space. I have a very strong positive space, repeat again, with my color and my product, but intentionally I create a negative space in different areas. That is a part of the elements of the floral design.
So just think about that. We've got binding, banding, color, which is an element, space, which is an element, and we've got positive, negative, and void space all present in that. Great educational piece. I'm going to let you jump to the next piece and see what you have in store for us.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I remember one time that one of friend of mine, Jorge Uribe, AFD, CFD2, ENC, suggested me one time, Alejandro, you need to work more feminist, more delicate. Um, I hear that. That was in in the Cup for Uruguay for Americas. I have a pleasure to compete with another talented designer as well, Jackie Lace. Made me happy to be there. For that reason, I started using more metallics products, create more delicate bouquets and pieces. This is very beautiful. I love the movement for this piece. I use only bouillon wire from Oasis. I create by myself the both. It's a easy technique. It's going to be soon in my YouTube channel. I'm going to start doing that to provide more education. In this bouquet, you can see that I have the abstracting again. I love to work abstracting because people get more interest to see what is that. People say normally, I never see that floor. And this is a sex part from the Phalaenopsis orchids. Is a beautiful technique that you create more interest in the composition. I have a grouping as well that is important. I banded it, I create more dynamic line as a movement in my bouquet. It's very modern, it's very contemporary, as well as delicate. I love this piece.
Now, everybody that knows me knows that one of my favorite sayings is, it's not done until it's overdone when you're in the South. And this is absolutely incredible. I love the way that Alejandro has mentioned how delicate it is. And before you even try to think about, yes, this is an acrylic bouquet holder, and it is one of a kind that Alejandro has designed himself and then had made. It's a little bit heavy, but such incredible impact. And when he mentioned about doing something on here, I had no idea he would take it to this level. Although this is an investment in the holder, probably would be something that you would rent, I'm assuming,
Yes.
to get back, but very cost effective because it's bullion, which we all know is very cost effective, and one stem of Phalaenopsis orchids that have been deconstructed to create such drama and impact with that color in there. Great job. It looks
It
really
is
good.
well. At the same time, pardon me, I following the principles of the floral design. You see, it's repetition, it's rhythm. Um, I have a lot of deep. That is important when you make a floral design following elements and principles.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly appreciate that and support that. Elements and principles and everything that you do. But when you can stretch it on an economic basis with such incredible impact and delicate trend like we're seeing right here, great job. I'm going to let you put it up so that I don't break anything. And
Sure.
then let's see what you have
Sure.
in store for us next.
Can I get married? Okay, I this piece is very crazy. When I made this piece or I started designing this piece, I remember the time that was in Palm Spring contest at the Sylvia Cup. That time they request about corn or spiral form. I was thinking, oh wow, it's a twist, you know. At that time, I get a good run for that time. But I say, I want to do something for my presentation. I want to represent a little part from my life, like about year and a half. I have a lot of movements inside. Every designer or every artist like to express what happened. I want to express what happened with me. All the time, the love for friends, my son and my daughter is support me. But sometimes it's coming very hard time and you start movement and everything changes. That is what happened here. The represent of the red color that is a love and started moving the power for the twist of my life. Different changes, you see transition of the materials and botanicals. I create the spiral and now is floating. Everything is floating. You see, it's come back the natural color, no painting. The product is natural because here I use painting with master tool design that is represent the power as like the concrete when everything is movement. This piece I use copper pipe that I bought in hardware store. I started binding hours by hours manually. I don't use drill. This piece is for 20 foot. It's very long, but I love the technique. I remember that time when I started bind it, when I work with Hitomi, that she say, bind it very, very, very tight, please. When I start to expand, they say, only is that tip give you the support for the structure. Because remember the copper is very flexible and the binding help you to do that. You see the grouping is repeating again. The red roses as is coming stem by stem, but I repeat it. I made the repetition because spray roses are coming by grouping. I love these pieces. I love the texture. I love the technique for painting. The Midolino is representing me around what happened around me. Again, it's a beautiful piece. It's very modern, very contemporary. I love the negative space that I create intentionally. Is my positive space, is the form, is a vertical arrangement. I love it, love it, love it.
Great job, Alejandro. I don't want to get too much into the stage area so that I can talk about this piece and you can still see it. But when Alejandro said that this was going to be a representation of him, and he first started to explain, I wasn't quite sure. But if you look at it now, it really is a good representation of Alejandro. You can see that he loves black. Black is very present in there. But when he gets excited and starts talking really fast, it looks like a whirlwind of information coming at you over and over. The passion just spills out, both from his heritage as well as his knowledge level and his passion for flowers. A lot of people don't know, but when you're in times of uncertainty and unrest, traditionally and historically, over the last many, many years, if you look back for color, when people are in those times, they naturally go back to black and white and red as an accent color. I'm not sure if you thought about this, but aren't we in uncertain times right now? And this is a great representation of that. Looking at the red color, that's sort of our fear, and then the black and white, which is very traditional. So when I look at this for Alejandro, I see the tight knowledge that he has at the beginning, and in this conical shape as he spirals up, and his passion and knowledge continues to grow and expand and go to new heights. Very good job. I see now for sure that it's...
The piece that I made, I use chicken wire modeling. I use the chicken wire to create my form. Every flowers are on the water tubes to create to water in that. It's easy to inserting whatever you want. You can insert in the.
And for those of us that are trying to be politically correct right now, chicken wire or poultry fencing, so that we stay on that. New terms that we're looking for. You can see it right in there. Slide those tubes right in between the gaps that are in that chicken wire, and it's also a very easy way for you to be able to insert your floral products.
And one more time, this technique is very light. You can carry for the event. Is not heavy. Is no foam. Is very trending at this moment because we're eco.
Makes a big splash. Show us your next one, Alejandro.
Sure. I have one bouquet that our season are looking nature. I say, well, I'm going to start design something like branches, curly willow. I love this color harmony. In elements and principle, this is armature bouquet. I started doing with the green wire. I taping everything to create my armature and my form. The same way, uh, I love it, the texture that I use. Deep is very important in this composition because you see the movement from this one. Beautiful orchids, chrysanthemums, hypericons. I love it, this detail that I create pieces with the curly willow. I banded, I create sewing with this one. And in the firm that I brought from outside, I grabbing, I create a line that is an interactive line. It's going to trying to go inside, and the same way I create a sheltering between the fern and the flowers. It's a beautiful design. I love it. To carry is light again, and the most important, they have a physical balance. Remember, when you make or build a bouquet for bride, it's important to have a balance. That is a principle of the elements of the floral design. Sorry.
Again, incredible drama and great presence, and a very lightweight bouquet. By looking at that armature, you would think that it's something that's really heavy. I love this great color combination that's in here, and the incredible way that we've used every bit of that curly willow by chopping those pieces and binding them in there to give a little movement and motion as the bride carried that down the aisle. Great job. Love the texture, love the color, love the way you've put it together, and incredibly clean mechanics. I want to make sure that everyone looks at that. That's really important because you never know when the bride may hold it down like this, or their photographer may suggest another way for it to be held. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. And the most important, that is on a spiral, hand tie. You can just hold it in any place. The sweetheart table, the bride can stand that alone. Well, that is another piece that we have on our book. Is a Fibonacci that is represent how it's coming from the nature, from the scale for everything. I create this piece. It's a little European style, but when I have or when I receive the book from White Service, I say, what are you going to do with this one? I think that is useless at this time because everything is electronic, is online. But I say, I don't put it on the trash. I'm going to use and reuse this book. I take a little pieces. I'm going to be honestly, my daughter helped me with that because I was very, very busy for events. Thank you, Lord. But I cut this piece in two parts because I want to show you on camera what is my intention, and that's easy to carry it, okay? I use a good friends that I built, and then I'm going to weave in with a bouillon wire to make an accent and decorative at the same time. If you see, this one is a beautiful dip that I have. I have a repetition with my placement for the flowers. I use a PVC pipe. I cut it about 3 inches each piece. I glue in with the cement PVC that you can find it in any store. Inside, my recommendation, I use water tubes, clear water tubes, to hold that the material on botanical. I love this particular piece. Is again is a beautiful color theory. I love it. How can you this with simple, and maybe you can create something to sell with a customer, and this customer can insert the flowers by himself or whatever is going to be nice.
Great concept. I love reusing, especially when it comes to this print materials that a lot of us have that are available. Again, remember when you look at this piece, look at the structure as a buffet piece or an entry piece, and then you could make individual pieces that you could very easily use for your centerpieces. He's really stretched the product by spreading it out like this, and what a great idea about using those water tubes down into the PVC to cover them up.
Yes. Again, one more time, if you can see the the piece, I continue using the elements of the floral design. I have a different lines with my botanicals. If you see the Queensland lace is going to take it a zigzag line. It's present here, and the same way with the Lysianthus, and the same way with the tulips. All the time I use elements and principles.
Great job. We're gonna again show some close-up photos of this so that you can see the great details, and wait till you see this last piece.
And now I have my masterpiece that I feel very comfortable to bring to you at this time. In this piece, I love the color harmony. It represents circles that everything is represent in each of life for everyone, that every is repeated. I love the movement, the dip. I went to a store. I see this is a wall decor that I found it. I love the pattern that is coming. I love the color. I love black color too, all the time. I say, well, I can do this one, but just one piece is not enough. I want to do maybe something to create in the middle, any transition. Any something happen inside. For this one, I love the texture that is coming from the flowers. Ranunculus is a beautiful and delicate flowers. I love the Anigosanthus flavidus is a kangaroo pop. The orchids, if you see the green orchids, all the time orchids are present in my designs. As well, I love cymbidiums. All the time I use cymbidiums. I love the form. And remember my mom loved the cymbidium too a lot. When she born, my dad born too, is in Madeira. They use a lot of time that flowers on Christmas. For that reason, cymbidium are present all the time in my designs. If you see the dip for this composition is beautiful. I love it. I love it, the movement. But now I see I love to add an extra flower that is going to be a little accent, maybe a focal point, because it's different flowers. Jackie, can I have Gloriosas, please? Is a beautiful, the Gloriosa Superba. I love the color, how it's coming. And you can see that it's coming to be in the front. It's beautiful. I remember my presentation with Stacy at the symposium. I use only Gloriosas because I love it. I love the gloriosas. The contrast between the black is beautiful flower and very protagonist. Is important all the time following elements and principles. In this piece you have represent that. I love the hanging amaranthus. You are going to see how it's beautiful. I have the repetition with the color. With my moss I cover a little mechanics with my moss. Everything is floating. That is happened at this time for me. Everything is good.
Another incredible piece, Alejandro. I wish you could really be here to see the great texture and the depth on not just this piece, but all of the pieces. We're going to try to post as many photos as we possibly can and stills, and I'm sure that Alejandro will be posting them after he gets back too. He's pretty tired putting all this together. He's been working like crazy, but what an incredible job. What an incredible artist.
Thank you.
We appreciate your representation of both Florida State as Designer of the Year and for being a team member, not only as part of our board of directors from Florida State, but then also for Floriology being here in the state of Florida as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackie.
Alejandro. I'll let you close the program out and be sure and join us again for the other programs that are following later on this afternoon.
I want to say thank you for my sponsors. I want to say thank you for Florology powered by BlueNet. I repeat again, this is my home. I'm very glad for that. I want to say thank you, Florida State Free Association, because made this possible. I need to say thank you to Deborah LaFleur, our president, for every support that I received. I want to say thank you, Jackie Lace, for all your support. Is a president-elect. I can't wait to work together. I want to say thank you, Bob Trucker, for support me too. I want to say thank you to Renato that is behind our camera, is going to help us to running this program. I want to say thank you for any member board for Florida State Association. I want to say thank you everyone for take your time and watch my program. I can't wait to share another program with you in the future.